Hello everybody and welcome back. This is my fifth video for this TL Type S, and today I'm going to be replacing some pulleys and my timing belts and a water pump, and I also got some new serpentine belts and new timing belt covers as well. I'm going to be replacing all of those. So the first thing I'm gonna end up doing is draining the coolant and removing this fan, because I need to get this alternator out so that I could change the pulley out for that as well. And I also have to be moving this out the way so I could get to this power steering pulley. So quick update on this car. By the way, here's all the new parts I got some lightweight pulleys here from these are from, let's see, I totally forgot where these were from, but I got them from Vivid Racing. Rauco Performance, that's what they're called. Rauco Performance. And this is a power steering pulley, alternator pulley, and crank pulley. So that's a whole set right there. I already weighted them, so I'm gonna put the weights up so that you could see the difference. But man, this whole box in itself is so lightweight. These are made out of billet aluminum, so they're pretty strong, they're pretty lightweight, but you know, they still gotta be careful, still can't drop them, you know, because they can get fragile. And then I got some clear covers here as well. It comes with some new seals and everything. I got these from P2R, and I'll put the link down in my comments so you can check these out for yourself if you have a build for yourself, so that you can get something like this yourself. And then I got some ASIN timing belts. This is OEM manufacturer, a new tensioner, new pulleys, and also a brand new water pump. So that's what I'm gonna be replacing today. So this car, I mean, so far I've driven it, you know, with these new mounts, and I actually managed to put a bolt through that last mount, so it's still been pretty good. The car still hasn't had any problems. I actually did have to replace my thermostat again, but I ended up getting an OEM one because the aftermarket thermostat that I got, it actually stuck itself open. So my thermostat was running was stuck open, and my car was taking its time to warm up, so I had to replace that. And so I ended up going to Honda and I got an OEM thermostat. Now there's no other thermostat you should put in besides the OEM thermostat, because that seems to be the one that works the best for this car. And then another thing was, I was still having issues starting my car, so I ended up replacing there's a relay under here. Let me see if I could get that. This relay right here. This is a PGM FI relay. So it's a relay for ignition and it's a relay for fuel. I ended up replacing that, and now my car starts great every time. So I'm gonna start getting to work. I'm gonna start draining this coolant right now. I had to let my car cool down because I had to drive it earlier to get some paint markers for the timing belt. So I got that, so I let it cool down for a bit. I'm gonna start draining the coolant, taking this fan out, putting my car on a jack so that I could remove this mount, put the jack under the engine so I'll have more space. Plus I have to take it out just to get this power steering pulley and belt off. So I will be right back when I get all that stuff done. Alright, this is where I'm at now. So, I've removed the power steering pulley, and I also removed this line here so that I could get the pulley out the way. And then I loosened this up, so I have this just loose. I took the alternator out, it's right there. What I'm gonna end up doing is cleaning it up and putting the new pulley on. This is the power steering pulley. I thought it was light, but it feels a lot heavier than this one right here. This one is practically weightless. I haven't got the covers off yet, but I got this fan out so that I have more clearance for the alternator. And the next thing I'm gonna need to do is put the engine on TDC. So there's these covers here that you're supposed to take off the lid and look at the mark and align the crank pulley to the 0 at the bottom, or the checker was like an arrow on the bottom. Let me see if I can put a light there. So this arrow here, that arrow at the bottom, I have to match. There should be like a mark on the pulley. I have to match that mark to that arrow, and then I have to match this cover to that little, there's a little checker there, but basically there's gonna be a mark on these cams here. I don't have this cover on open, but it's the same thing for this side too. But now that I got all this stuff out the way, now I have a lot more clearance. I gotta take this bracket off as well. So that'll be the next thing. Stay tuned. Okay, so I got the cams timed, and I got the crank pulley timed. So there's like a little mark that's gonna be by itself on that crank pulley, and that's gonna be the 0 for the crank. And along with that, there's two marks, there's two lines on this cam. So it's got to be able to, let's see, there's like a one line there, and it's got to be line up with that mark on the cover. And the same for the other side. This other side's a little harder. I got to use a mirror just to see it. But now that it's timed, I'm going to take this crank pulley off. But I'm going to take these covers off first, and I'm going to take a paint marker and I'm going to mark the cams so that when I put the new belt on, I'll just trace the marks that I made from the old belt, put it on the new belt, and match it up with the cams so that there is no way I could get this engine out of timing. So that's gonna be the next step. Alright, stay tuned. And also, I managed to put the new pulley on the alternator. So that's already on there. I'm gonna weigh these two. This is really heavy too. These are heavy, so I'm gonna weigh them and see how much weight I lost during the whole process. Alright, well, I'm at that point now. I got the timing belt loose. It seems to be in a fairly okay condition. There's no cracks on it. There's no tears. It seems like it could have gone for a little bit more, but I put my marks here. I got one red, one yellow for this side, and then I have 3 for the crank, so that when I take the tensioner off, I could just pop this belt out. And then there's the water pump right there. There's the pulleys. So the next thing I'm gonna end up doing is I'm going to get the tensioner off, and then I'll be able to grab the belt off, take the belt off, and then I will start taking the pulleys off and the water pump. and I'm going to replace all of those things at once. So stay tuned, and you'll see the new parts in momentarily. Alright, so I got the pulleys off. They seem to be in okay condition. They're just a little old. I got the tensioner off, and I also made, this is the new belt, so I made my timing marks on the new belt, so one yellow, one red. I counted, with a lot of counting, I counted 62 teeth from the crank. So these are the marks I made from the crank. So I counted all the way up, and I got 62 teeth. And then I counted from here, and I got 64 teeth to the yellow. So I just basically counted those and put those markings on this belt, and double check, triple check, quadruple check. You cannot get this timing wrong, since these are interference engines. You know, the timing goes off and the whole engine will be destroyed, you know. So I'm being extra careful. There's the water pump, the old one have to get out, so that's gonna be the next thing. And then after that, then it's putting everything back together again. Alright, I'm back. Yes, it is dark right now, but I'm getting this as good as possible. So basically, what I found out was, because I already have the belts timed. I have the belt marks. The marks look good, but there is also a check, like a line on this rear cover too. So you can, if you forget to do this, or you're not sure, you know, where the cam is really supposed to be, you can get that line mark right there, and you match it up with this line mark right here. And it's the same for this pulley too. There's a mark, there's a line right there, and then there's a line right there. Just make sure that matches. And then on the crank, there is a very tiny arrow on this crank. Let me see if I could show you guys. There's a very tiny arrow on this crank right there, but that arrow has to align to another little arrow that is on this cover here. So if you know you got those three lined up, then your timing should be good. Now, I don't have the tensioner. I didn't pull the tensioner yet. But the first thing I want to do is I'm gonna spin this engine about 3 times, make sure nothing is binding, and once I do that, then I'll pull this tensioner, and the timing should be good. And then it's assembling, back to assembling. Alright, I finally got everything assembled. Man, it's about like 11:18 tonight, but I finally got everything. It's got coolant in there. So there's the covers right there. You can see the cams, and the pulleys are all installed. I got them nice and tensioned, new belts. So the last thing we need to do is start this car. Alright. Oh man, this part always makes me a little nervous, but alright, let's start it. A minute. Okay, lights are on. Here's the moment we've all been waiting for. Oh, thank God it's on. It's running beautifully, and there's no check engine lights. Oh, yes. Alright. It's running. It sounds so smooth. You can see the cam spinning inside there. Really awesome. Let's see if I can get the other one. Yep, there's the other one. That looks awesome. Well, here's the new pulleys. Everything is, there's no squeaking, there's no squeals. Here's the lower pulley right here. No squeals. Everything is looking really good. Now all we gotta do left is let it run, let the thermostat open and bleed itself. I kinda burped it a little bit, you know, with the hose. Just making sure that I get as much air out as possible. It seems like I did doing that, but I'm just gonna let it run and keep filling the coolant up, and then I'll be good to go. That looks so awesome. Well, that concludes this video for today. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if for more things. Yep, I got more things that's gonna come. I think the next thing I'm gonna end up doing is working on the, you know, getting some new headlights, and possibly, you know, getting a new radio too. I'm getting tired of using that cassette player for a radio. But yeah. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.